What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Bookstreet Boys Podcast. It is episode 4, and we're here with some awesome people. We're going to go around starting with Shay. They're going to introduce themselves, tell us where we can find them on YouTube and any other platforms, and then we're going to dive right in. So, Shay, get us started.
All right, what's up, guys? I'm Shay from the channel Zachary Shay, where I talk about fantasy books, comics, manga, mainly fantasy books, and yeah. I'm done.
We're Tabitha and Sherilyn from Books, Beverages, and Besties, and we cover kind of all speculative fiction reading. We're just kind of all over the place, but we're on YouTube primarily, and then a little bit on Instagram.
Awesome.
Ditto. Yep.
Hello, friends. I'm Red. My channel is Red's Reading Cafe, so I mainly talk about books while enjoying some coffee. I always invite everyone to watch my videos for drinking coffee or tea. I primarily talk about sci-fi fantasy, but I also enjoy some horror. So I'm super stoked for October coming up because I got some books I'm excited to read. But you can find me on YouTube and on Instagram.
Awesome. And I'm Preacher Reads. Excited to be here with you guys. I am also on Instagram at Preacher Reads, and I have oh my gosh, I've already forgot what it's called.
Threads.
I have a Threads that nobody pays any attention to.
I think I commented on one of your threads.
It is dormant. Will you comment
Never been
on
on there.
Thank you so much. It's literally a waste of time and a waste of space on my phone. But awesome, guys. Let's go ahead and get started for tonight. Everybody knows that the thing we start with is my favorite part, and that is Soapbox time, an opportunity for you guys to just rant about something that is on your mind. It can be negative, it can be positive, but I want to see you get excited. I want to see you get mad. I want to see some emotion, especially Shay. I need to see Shay mad about something, right? That's what we're here for. We're here to see some emotion. So let's get started. We're going to start with Shay. Shay, what would you like to rant about this evening?
So I recently had a conversation with Philip Chase about Hizzy Dan books, and I mentioned how much I loved the songs in his books, the poems. And he told me, he's like, I think most people skip the songs and poems in my books. And I think most people do that with Tolkien. And you can hear this all the time. People rant about, like, why is there so much singing in Lord of the Rings? And to me, people need to stop skipping the poetry, stop skipping the songs, take time, breathe it in. You don't always need to get to the end of the book. Sometimes just take that vibe. Just listen to Aragorn sing about Beren and Luthien. Just chill for a second. There's no rush. And usually these songs, these poems, authors are not putting it there for no reason. There's some thematic, some character through line that they're trying to stress with that story. So I personally would love it if authors put more of that into their work. But usually it's seen as like self-indulgent or, it's stopping the plot. I disagree. I think most of the time it adds to the ambiance of the whatever book you're reading. So people should stop skipping the poetry and the songs.
I'll admit I'm somebody, I don't skip it, but I do probably like not give it its time, right? Like I don't skip it. I don't skip it, but I do definitely like kind of rush it. If that, I don't stop and go, let me dissect this like I'm in English class, which, maybe I should do that. But I know that's definitely something that people tend to do. And even down to like, not even like full poetry, even when stuff's like at the beginning of a chapter. Right. I know when I was looking at the reviews for the library trilogy for book 1, Mark Lawrence has some wild, is it epigraphs? Is that what they're called?
Right.
Epigraphs before each chapter. There's some wild ones. And like people were giving him stars off of their reviews because they thought the epigraphs were too self-indulgent. And it's like, dude, it's 3 lines at the beginning of a chapter. Like, don't be ridiculous, So
dude, for me, that's like the dessert. Like when I'm reading Malazan and I get to the epigraphs that are like little poems, in-world poems, that's like the cheesecake after eating my dinner, like that's
Now I will say
of it is it'll sour me to it, but just the right amount.
I will say Mark Lawrence like references himself and like gets real meta in his epigraphs in the library trilogy. So it might be a little much, but like definitely not something that's going to make me take off. But next time I come across a poem, I'll read it just for you, Shay.
Yeah. I mean, I like epigraphs for the same reason because in the poetry and music, because it may not be something you need right away, but once you understand, read more of the story, it's always fun to go back and read those too, because you're like, oh, that's what this was referencing, or there's some other layering involved that you may not be aware of, or it could be just something that it's referencing like an event that happened a long time ago. So, it's always, extra material that it can be easily overlooked if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm. Music and poetry is also just like a big part of culture. So it gives you a lot of insight into the culture in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those like epigraphs will often have like Easter eggs kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes they'll, if you like go back and look at them, maybe after the chapter or whatever, you'll like, it's either world building or it's just Easter eggs. And it's like, it adds to the story. It's not like it's there for no reason.
Yeah.
And then for Lord of the Rings, I've only read The Hobbit and Fellowship, but like if you do the audiobook with Andy Serkis, he does a fantastic job reading those.
Yes,
so
he does.
that can even level up that experience.
Yeah.
And his Silmarillion is really good.
A book with some fantastic music, The Name of the Wind. In case you guys didn't know. I always have to mention that The Name of Wind is a fantastic read. Even though I don't know if there's anybody in here who hates it, but I just assume there is.
I have a
haven't read it.
Name of the Wind, so
nice.
Listen, guys, the music scenes are, even if you hate those two books, I think everybody can agree that it's like probably the most beautifully written music scenes in fantasy literature. So you should read it just for that. But I remember one time, speaking of epigraphs, I blanking on the name of the book. The only time I've ever really read like poetry or epigraphs that totally I couldn't do was what book was it? It was a fantasy book, and every epigraph essentially gave away the chapter. It would be like a 3-line poem, and it would be like, the brown-haired girl is gonna die today, and and then like in the chapter, the brown-haired girl. By halfway through the book, I was like, I'm literally getting each chapter spoiled with.
They did like the Stephen King thing where they'd be like, goodbye, and he's like, and that was the last time they ever saw each other. But then the story continues, so you're like, why did you tell me that?
Yeah, I'm still mad at King because in a couple of his older books, in the newer editions, he gives away the ending in the introduction. It's multiple books. So if you ever are reading an older Stephen King book, but you're reading a newer edition, skip the introduction.
Yes.
In the Running Man, he literally tells you the end of the book.
I read the introduction to Pet Sematary, and it basically spoiled the book for me as well. I was like, well, I know where we're going.
This one doesn't even basically. It literally is like, and I was writing this book, and I thought it might be a little much to XYZ. And I was like, it's crazy. And then I Googled it and it was like, yeah, he just tells you the ending of the book. So I don't know how we got there, but
the only one who should be able to get away with that is Christopher Rocchio.
Yeah, because it's framed into the narrative.
Yeah.
It's kind of ironic because I said you shouldn't skip the poems, but I skip every intro. If it's not in-world writing, if the author is talking like, this is why I wrote the book, I'd be like, no, it's okay. I'll just read your book.
That's fair. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, that's a fantastic rant. Let's move it on down. We'll start with Tabitha.
Ooh, okay.
What are you ranting about today?
So I'm going to rant about the Farseer trilogy, and not in the way that Shay is scared. So many people talk about how weak the Farseer trilogy is, and I've even heard people mention to like just go ahead and skip it and move on. But it's got such a deep character. And we get to know so much about like loneliness. We get so much about leadership. We get so much in these first 3 books that people who tell you to skip them are wrong. People who tell you that the Farseer itself isn't worth the time are completely wrong. It is absolutely fantastic. And you get the most beautiful prose and just like the best story. So anyone who scares you about Farseer, because I went into this and I was like, okay, this isn't going to be like, this is probably going to be like a 3-star experience. Everybody says that Farseer is like the weak one, but it's fantastic. And people are just wrong.
I've never read it. I've got nothing to say here.
I've read the first book and I absolutely loved it. I can't wait to get to those 2. That's later in the fall too, just because, man, Fitz's chivalry story is so potent and powerful. But I also liked how it was written just because it was literally kind of felt like this was the day in the life of a character in a fantasy world and what they were, just day-to-day stuff as they were growing older and encountering different things and, building relationships with father figures and, a small love interest and all this stuff. And so, yeah, I cannot wait to go to the other two books. I cannot believe people say to skip it. My gosh. I hate it when people
I heard
say
that recently and I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, that's too foundational. I can't imagine how that would, I can't imagine how that would read for the rest of the series to skip that beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, I adore her initial trilogy. I actually have a tattoo of the Fool like on my neck, so it's like.
What do you not have a tattoo of?
That's the real question.
You just mentioned two great books, but I love the coming of age for Fitz, and I actually didn't know that a lot of people recommend skipping Farseer because it kind of undermines the severity of what happens in Tawny Man, in Fitz and the Fool, in so many of her other series. To me, still, Royal Assassin is one of my favorite books of all time. Even though her final trilogy is my absolute favorite, Fitz and the Fool is my favorite, hands down. Royal Assassin is, some days I would say it's my favorite book by her.
It's so good.
It packs a punch. And
yes.
I think it is probably the greatest coming of age in fantasy, sci-fi, full stop, probably in literature, full stop. I think it's pretty unequaled. So I don't know. I mean, it has a slower start. Live Ship may have more mass appeal, but I don't think a single character in Live Ship is written as well as Fitz Chivalry Farseer.
Ooh.
I did hear someone say one time that they just wish she would have named the initial trilogy something different because in their quotes, there's basically no assassinating. Right? They're like,
I agree with that.
I went into this book thinking I was going to get an assassin, and I just got like this whiny little kid. Like, I'd never read it, so this is just what this person said. Right? It was like I thought I was going to get a bunch of assassin Keanu Reeves stuff, and I got.
It's really more perks of being a wallflower in a fantasy world.
I can see that,
which is not assassin at all, right?
No,
but also people say he's whiny, and he's been through so much. So.
Right.
Wrong.
It's like when they call Hadrian a drama queen. It's like, well, if you went through what he went through, would you just be like, oh, the sun is shining?
Hold on. Homie
Here we go.
Homie was I love Hadrian, but homie was melodramatic in the beginning.
My father hates me. My brother hates me. The world hates me. I love him though.
His father sucks. Are we not like?
No, I agree with you.
And his mom was just drunk, not caring.
That's the norm in that society at that point. And when you read 1.5, when you read The Lesser Devil, you do get a good view of like just how biased Hadrian is.
Yes.
He describes characters, right? Because Crispin's kind of dope. Like
Crispin's amazing. Yeah.
Sick.
I finished it. I'm like, man, Crispin is like, man, this dude really cares, and he came off as an aloof idiot in the first book, and it's like, no, he isn't.
So my girlfriend's mid Empire of Silence, and she was like, she kind of echoed y'all's thoughts before even getting the Lesser Devil. She's like, why does he hate his little brother so much? Like, what did he do?
Yes.
And I was like,
I had similar feelings.
He didn't really do anything. Now that I'm thinking on it,
a little bit of a punk, but like, I mean, whose little brother isn't a little bit of a punk, you know?
Truth.
Again, don't remember how we got there, but Hadrian is melodramatic. He makes sure that we know.
But we love him for that, okay?
It's something.
We put up with him.
All right, Sherilyn, rant.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this has been on my mind recently with reasons, but okay. I think that people need to calm down when it comes to TV and movie adaptations of books. I have seen throughout my life, and I decided very early on, after seeing people just be upset with adaptations, whether it was, with Twilight as a middle school girl, how the curtains in her room were the wrong color. I was like, who cares? Like, I was let down with Divergent because I watched the movie right after finishing the book, and I was like, this is not exactly the same. What is that? And I came to terms with the fact that the adaptation is never going to be one for one. And so when people get mad about a movie or TV adaptation being different from the book, one, how on earth are you going to make it exactly like the book? Because we're in characters' heads. We get so much narration. We get so much exposition that you just can't really do in a film format. So when people get mad about adaptations being different, about details being different, about the story being different, however much different it is. I get wanting to see your favorite books come to life, but at the same time, very frequently the people who create the films or the TV shows haven't read the books, aren't in love with the books. They're like, it was a project that was given to them or something. And so they do what they can with what they've got. They end up with their own thing. And we also all envision books differently in our minds. So even if we're working from the same source material, we're reading the same thing, like we're all going to have a different vision of what it should look like. So even if someone created an adaptation that for them was true to the text, it could still be different. So when people just get worked up over film and TV adaptations of books being different or not what they wanted or anything, I think it's better to go in with the mindset of this piece of work was inspired by this work, but it's not going to be a one for one, and we should just we need to separate that expectation.
I have so many strong opinions about this. I want to go last.
That for me, I think it depends, right? The main thing is that for me, the adaptation has to at least meet the core idea of the story and a lot of the key moments. So a good example, and I won't go into spoiler territory, is Three Body Problem on Netflix. I thought it was really good. They did divert away with a lot of different things, but the main beats of the story were there. The main point of the story was there. So if they want to do a sequel for season 2 and stuff, because I actually just talked to my granddad and he said, "Hey, I'm watching the show because your grandmother won't watch it with me, so I'm having to wait for her to go onto a quilting retreat before I can watch it." I'm like, okay. And so I was like, "Hey," and then I told him it's like, he said he's starting to read it. And he's like, "Wow, there's so much more in the book." I'm like, "Oh, there is, but that's the way the mediums work, of course." But the big moments were there, like, "Hey, what did you think of that scene?" Because that's like my favorite scene in the book too. And I think as long as they measure and hit those moments, then it's a good adaptation. If they say, "Yeah, they're all going to be the same names of characters and sort of the same setting, but we're going to throw away everything else," that's where I'm like, I don't. That's you're going away from the core of the story. I think that's why the Ring trilogy managed to work in the way it did, and the way the Hobbit trilogy didn't work the way that it did. I still enjoyed it. I still loved it, but he diverted away a lot and added stuff that no one needed. And, those are actually two good examples just right there too.
Peter Jackson nailed it. I've always had this weird feeling where you see these Disney live action movies. I'm like, who is sitting in a room going, "I need Aladdin in live action"? And that's kind of how I feel about the books. I think most well-told stories, well-constructed stories are told in the medium they're told in for a reason. For instance, Steven Erikson, Robin Hobb, Janie Wirtz, Christopher Rocchio, they all communicate their story to the reader in a way that you cannot in any other format. Not to say that the stories won't work in another medium, but they're like the way Steven Erikson writes, it is for prose style storytelling. Tom King is a great comics writer that I love. He writes stories that could only be told in comics. Tarantino, he writes a script that could only be communicated. Inglourious Bastards would not have worked as well of a book as it did as a movie. And it's I don't know. I guess I'm on the extreme of even if it is well done, I may not watch it because I've already consumed it in what is probably its best format. The outlier there is I love Peter Jackson's trilogy. I think they did Arwen's character better than the books even. But I also love Tolkien originally. But overall, I don't really need adaptations. And even when I get them and they're good, I'm kind of just like, eh.
That's how I feel.
I love what you said about the live action versus an animated because I feel the same way, and the same way about books, because the best you're hoping to get is close to it. So people will leave out of a live action and they're like, "Oh, it got the plot of Aladdin correctly." And it's okay, then why didn't you just watch Aladdin? I don't know. Right? And so same with books. I can definitely see that. I love that. The worst example I have is Death Note, the live action of Death Note. It has the characterizations all so completely wrong to the point where it's actually I kind of ironically love that movie just because it's so wrong. It's just every character is just not who the character is to the extreme level. You're getting a totally different experience.
So 5 minutes in, when Light runs from Ryuk, which Light is supposed to be a sociopath. Even the devils of the underworld fear him because he's just that unhinged. When he runs away screaming like an average high school kid, I said, doo-doo.
Yeah. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Screen.
It's horrible. I love it.
I don't think I've ever heard a good thing about a live action adaptation of an anime. I think
One Piece.
I think One Piece.
The One Piece season was gas.
It's the only one.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
No one watches a live action show. Like no one's watching Secession and goes, "I wonder what this would look like animated." Why is everybody like waiting for like? Why does everyone want to see anime in live action? I never want to see Better Call Saul animated. Like.
I mean, all right, this is gonna sound super noob, and it kind of is. Like for the average normie, like watching,
which none of us are.
Right. Watching something that is dubbed or like you have to read the subtitles is like enough to not enjoy it for some people. So like, I have friends who loved the One Piece season because they're talking in English and the voices coming out with the mouth. That's like most of it, right? And there's other things, but I mean, I would agree that most of them are not done well. That's like the aberration. But I have very strong opinions on adaptations. The first strong opinion is the worst adaptation ever made, and it's not even close. It's not Death Note. It's The Dark Tower. Okay, the Dark Tower movie was so bad that I was in the theaters thinking about wanting to find Stephen King, who said that it was good. He said that it was a good adaptation, and just right. It was so bad. It was the characters were wrong, the tone was wrong, the themes were wrong, the plot was wrong. There was literally not a single thing about it. It was like, except for maybe 2 quotes that were even within the realm of the point of the Dark Tower. And that's where I think the hinge lies for me. Authors have an intention when they write something, and if you ruin the intention, it's a bad adaptation. A great example of this would be in the same vein. A great movie that is a bad adaptation is The Shining, is Kubrick's The Shining, right? King hates it. Why does King hate it? Because The Shining is supposed to be King's engagement with addiction and his fight with alcoholism and his struggles with how it basically caused him to become this almost dual person, especially when it came to his emotions and his decision making, and how you could love someone so much but actively hurt them every day. And then Kubrick turns the main character into he's evil from the beginning, right? He's a nut job from day one, right, of the movie. And the point of the book is this descent into madness that comes from the daily choice of giving yourself to something, right? And so terrible adaptation, but actually a great movie, right? Yeah. And so that's where I think adaptations are so dangerous, right? Like, we don't know how it's going to go, but there's been a bunch of news about the new Narnia adaptation and how she's going to make it rock and roll, right? And like all this stuff. And I'm sitting there going, this is going to be so bad, right? Like,
C.S. Lewis is rolling over in his grave.
We know that the lady is, for better, not to judge her for this, but we know that she's like not a religious person. Narnia is a religious allegory. We know that she's basically said she wants to do the opposite, right? She wants to subvert the story. And I'm like, you can't subvert the story. That's the whole point of adapting.
One of stories.
And so like, I think that that's the danger, right? Is that you have to be able to understand the point of what they were going for. And then you have to be able to put it to the screen. Like, I think that's why Harry Potter's original movies were so good. Were they word for word? No. Did they change things? Yes. But they felt like the books, right? Yep. They just felt like the books. And that's something that's so difficult to do. And I think different genres are easier or harder to do. Like Stephen King has some of the greatest adaptations because a lot of his books are like inner monologue plus dialogue. And so the Shawshank Redemption, right? The short story is you hearing about what happened from this guy. And then you watch the movie and it's him telling you what happened. You're watching it. And then there's dialogue, right? That's super easy to adapt. You basically just follow the book. The Green Mile is the same exact way, right? But if you've got a giant epic fantasy book where most of the narration isn't inner monologue or like a narrator talking that's in the story, that's super hard to pull off, right? Whereas literally the Green Mile is just the book. It's like one for one because it's written like a screenplay in a lot of ways because it's just a guy monologuing about what happened and then you get the dialogue in between. And so I think that people are a little too hard sometimes on those things, but I have no issues with differences, with changes, as long as you don't lose the substance, right?
Right, exactly.
And I'm so scared about the new Harry Potter show.
Me too.
I forgot that was happening.
Oh man, on a lot of levels.
So scared. But people are nitpicking it, like you're saying. I saw a screenshot the other day that was like Hagrid's not tall enough, and I'm like,
Yeah.
He's not tall enough, but there's probably some TV magic that they're going to put in to make it look like he's larger, because that's what they did in the real movies. He's not. You can't have a literal giant, So
wait, he wasn't 9 feet.
No, sorry to tell you, man.
Andre the Giant now.
My immersion was ruined.
I feel like I knew Dark Tower was cooked when like
Matthew McConaughey
no
was
one
cast?
complained about the fact that Clint Eastwood was like they race swapped him because not Clint Eastwood. Roland Deschain was supposed to look like Clint Eastwood, and they race swapped him, and no one complained about that. Like usually when you have a good movie, there will people be like, "Oh, but why'd they change?" And no one complained about it because there were that many glaring issues.
That was problem number 974. And Idris Elba was
everyone always complains when they race swap characters. So the fact that no one's complaining means that there's a lot of stuff to deal with.
Idris Elba was the best part of the movie, Shay. That's the problem. He was the only.
Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey is a legendary casting, by the way.
Matthew McConaughey was a terrible casting for that character, though. He was not.
They're both great actors, though. I think that's how they got them on board. Like they told Matthew, they're like, Idris Elba's on board, and then Idris is like, I don't know, and they're like, Matthew McConaughey said yes, and then that's
at no point. Look, everybody reads differently, and everybody like pictures people differently. But reading The Dark Tower, at no point was I like, you know what he's like a suave country guy who could sell a car, like at no point did I think that that's what the Man in Black was, right? Terrible casting, but there's way more. We just pretend like that one never happened. We're just gonna,
it's a fanfic.
Like there's a bunch of those that I had thought. Yeah.
Well, the problem is that the story itself actually lends credence to basically forgetting about that movie. So like if you read The Dark Tower, you know what I was talking about, right? But like that there's a built-in excuse for why that movie was so bad, and it's actually canon, but it's stupid. God, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm so mad. This is my rant, actually. No, I'm kidding. Awesome.
Let me hang on.
Oh, we got our camera.
All right.
Yes.
We're good.
I have savings going for new ones.
Wait, real quick. Can anybody off the top of their dome come up with a better movie than the book? Where the movie was better than the book?
Practical Magic.
Yes.
Oh, the movie, so iconic. Fun. The book,
I couldn't even finish the book.
Never seen it or read it.
The movie is so much fun. It is like fall. It is a fall.
Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, and it's so much fun. It's like a good like girls' night movie. So that makes sense, Preacher. But no, it's so fun.
Yeah. And then we read the book as a group, going to because we've all watched the movie before in our friend group, and so we went to read the book, and it had none of the fun, not a single ounce of fun in that book.
Yeah, it was. I never finished it.
I've never read the book, but I've had multiple people say that the Magicians TV show was better than the books. But a lot of people hate that book. You're the opposite?
No.
I think Shay has a passion. Yes.
I think the problem is that the people who hate that series like hate the books. Like the people who hate it. The people who love it. There's no middle ground, right?
I think the books are amazing. I think the show
I've heard both.
A waste of time.
Let's go.
I do think it is. I do think I do not think sci-fi did that story the respect that Lev Grossman did. I'm sorry if I sounded overly emphatic about that, but I just genuinely
I like seeing it
for the first time. Let's do it.
I like
Keep
seeing
going.
the emotion. I got to keep poking the bear.
No, Lev Grossman's trilogy is amazing. It was one of like my first. It's. I read it when I was like 16. I remember when Magician's Land came out. I was like a senior in high school. So I have a very strong connection with that trilogy. And I thought the TV series, like I felt like Vito from Godfather. Look at how they massacred my boy. That's kind of how I felt watching every episode as it came out. And it was, it was before we had like these big season dumps. So I waited each week for them to massacre.
Oh, it's a slow, painful death right there.
Just slow, painful, torturous death.
Cuts.
I hate. You guys have to go watch. There's a Daniel Green video where he talks about how bad the Dresden Files adaptation is. I've never seen it, but he goes into vivid description of like all the differences, and it sounds like that's about the most butchered like you could ever butcher something too. It's like basically, that was a good pun, butchered. Didn't do that on purpose. Apparently, it is so bad, and I kind of want to go hate watch it.
Right?
Yeah. All right,
I think.
Oh, you got it.
No, just real quick. I think The Martian. I actually like the movie more than the book.
Okay.
They basically stay almost worth moment for moment throughout the whole thing, but it's nice. Like I love hard science fiction, and that's why I'm probably a big fan of like Brandon Sanderson and his magic system. That's something we can talk about another time because I love that so much. But I think it was nice just to kind of have where you're sitting there eating some popcorn and watch a movie and stuff like where he says he scientists the crap out of everything. Won't say what he actually said, but I just love the visuals and things, and I think it nailed it for me.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's one I have not read or watched, but I've heard good things about
It's
it.
really good.
Which book by him did Dylan from Spaced Out Reads say was just the whole thing was just science? It was like episode 2 of the book.
Project
Hail Mary.
Yeah, it was the whole thing's just science.
It's not the whole
But
thing.
it's delicious.
It's
so good.
I can't wait for the movie.
I'm a little nervous for that movie.
It's so
I am
good.
too, but hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Red, it's your turn
Okay.
on the soapbox.
This has been a recent conversation. My best buddy in the whole wide world, Chris, if you're watching this, you reminded me of this because we had a conversation and he talks about where he hasn't read in a while. I've got him into audiobooks, but he's like, yeah, whenever I would read, I would just always skip the prologue and the epilogue. I'm like, why? And I've heard like he is not the only individual. Like I've seen other people talk about like, yeah, it's just a faster way to read. It's almost like people who say they only read the dialogue. They go through that. And it was like mind blowing because like the prologue is like, well, it's not really a part of the story. I'm like, no, that's kind of the whole point. The prologue. I mean, some authors abuse it, sure, but it sets up the foundation of what you're getting ready to encounter. Like Game of Thrones, you kind of get to see a taste of the White Walkers before you understand what they are. I'm a huge Brandon Sanderson fan, but I have to see that how the same prologue for 4 books in a row almost, but it's but it's still seeing different perspectives, throughout that. And it sets the foundation for that. And then at the same time, the epilogue, we're seeing how things kind of settle down. In fact, I just finished Mistborn: A Secret History, and the epilogue did a great job of getting you, doing a transition into era 2. And yeah, it's like how I don't understand how you could skip it. My buddy says, well, he can't skip them now because it listens to the audiobook, so he just listens to it. I'm like, yeah, you really weren't ever supposed to skip that to begin with.
I think I would fight anybody who only reads the dialogue. That's crazy.
I don't see how that's like all the work the author puts into the story, and they set all this up. Their like descriptions are just as important to an extent as the dialogue, and the setting of the world. Sometimes it's more important than the dialogue, depending on the author, But for to skip the prologue and to skip the epilogue, it's like those are they're the letters inside of the page. It means you should be reading that,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was. I came from horror primarily, and like prologues are pretty much not a thing in most regular horror books. You just start with chapter 1 like a normal human, and then I read Stormlight. And I was like, why is this 350-page prologue? What is this introduction? This is not an introduction, right? And so I had to learn pretty quickly that why you would set something up in that way, why you would frame it as the prologue. And I just couldn't imagine skipping that, especially the epilogue. Is there an epilogue at the end of The Will of the Many? Is that an epilogue? Imagine skipping that epilogue. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say there are some books I've read recently where the epilogue has very important information, and if you skip that, you're not gonna know what's happening.
Yeah. I don't want to be that guy that says you're not reading, but at that point you're not reading. Just kidding.
The dialogue only thing, okay, if you're reading Gentlemen Bastards, you could kind of get an idea of what's going on in the narrative, but like let's say it's like Sun Eater or Farseer, where it's like mostly internal monologue. Like that's like watching Dexter without the voice in his head. You just see
those
him
clips?
like looking
They're
around.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of clips on YouTube Shorts of this guy who takes out Dexter's inner monologue in clips of the show. It's the funniest thing ever. He's just like,
no, that's a wild thing to think of.
He's just like,
because like Rita will say something to him and he'll sit there for like 2 minutes.
There's the scene where she first tries to engage him in adult activities, and it's that scene, and he's like for like 30 seconds. It's so ridiculous. I love Dexter, by the way, but
I mean, it's like we talked about the epigraphs earlier, right? Like some of my all-time favorites from Stormlight, The Way of Kings. I don't know if it's the same epigraphs throughout the entire thing, but once you learn what those epigraphs are, you're like, holy crap. And you want it. And then because I remember I went back and read all of them after that, because I mean, they're just a few lines anyways, once you understood what they were. And it was just his way. It's just another way to just inject lore, again, like Game of Thrones, like I mentioned earlier. Yeah. It just has a quick moment with the White Walkers, and then that's it. You don't see the White Walkers again until like much later in the book, but it's just like these things are happening. These moments are existing and taking place. And so it's just kind of a quick way of getting a taste of the world that you're in and the story that you're in. And I just like that any excuse to lay extra lore into something, I'm always a huge fan of.
I like it.
Agreed.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think it's my turn. So let's talk about Audible. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to. Everybody's talking about Audible.
No, let's talk about Audible. Yeah.
Let's talk about Audible. Maybe the next episode we'll do Audible as the big topic. But I want to talk about something that at the end of the day, this is going to be book recommendation, right? But it all comes down to, I think one of the natural consequences of BookTube is that oftentimes 5, 6, 7, 8 to maybe 10 big books kind of become the topic, right? For most of at least our niche of BookTube, to the point where like some really good books can kind of just go by the wayside. Even books by authors that are popular, but like they put out a book and maybe it just didn't hit at the right time, and Sun Eater was too important at that moment, and like the right guy didn't talk about it at the right time, and so quickly a book can just kind of get lost, even though they're fantastic. And so I've got 2 books that, in my opinion, are like should be talked about all the time, and I've pushed hard, especially on one of them, and it even got like a glowing review by Petrick. And even now, that was like a year ago, I YouTubed it today to double check. There's 3 reviews of this book over 1,000 views, and there's less than 1,000 reviews total on Goodreads for the book that Petrick called the book of the year, right, when it came out. And that is The Failures by Benjamin Lyer, right? This book is amazing. It is, in my opinion, it does everything that everybody rants and raves about with like Stormlight, with Sun Eater, with all of these huge series. Like, it has the complex world building, it has the woe moments, it has the character work, like it has the complexity, it has all these things, and then like no one's talking about it. And I'm just, how do we get Daniel Green to read this so people will start talking about it, right? That's the frustrating part about YouTube sometimes, is it's like the right person has to read this and it'll blow up. But even then, like, Mike's read it. Mike read it. Mike loved it. Yeah. But for some reason, people didn't pick it up, right? Even though when Mike ranted about Sun Eater, everybody started picking it up. And so YouTube is so weird. How like this has 700 reviews on Goodreads.
Wow.
That is absurd that a book this good.
But honestly, a good portion of those probably are because of Petrick.
Right. Like, and it's still only
for
700.
His subscriber count, he is probably next to Daniel, like the biggest trendsetter of BookTube.
Right. But like the fact that I can Google this and the three videos that pop up first are Petrick, Mike, me, like I'm 3, right? That's not good, right? And mine's not even over 1,000, right? And so that's criminal. This book needs to be read by like literally everybody. I know John didn't like love the whole thing, but he did love the ending. This is one of those books that I think if he nails the next 2 books, then this book will be a 5-star book. If he flubs the next 2 books, this could be a 2-star book, right? It really is going to come down to how he finishes it. But like the makings of everything everyone loves about all these series, people just aren't talking about it enough. And the second one is even weirder because it's a like self-published darling who everybody talks about, or a lot of people mention, especially like a couple of his series from 5-6 years ago. I picked this up day one because I thought that the idea was so cool, and no one is talking about it. Less than 700 reviews on Goodreads, and that is Herald, right, by Rob J. Hayes and the God Eater. Mm-hmm. This is so cool. It's 3 trilogies of trilogies. That's right. I think I'm saying that right. It's a trilogy of trilogies. So he dropped Herald, which is a full-size book, and then 2 novellas. The novellas are 1,000 years and 3,000 years prior to the events of this book. And then the next time he's going to drop 3 books again, which is the second one here, the second one 1,000 years, and the second one 3,000 years, until he's done with 3 sets of those, right? This is absolute gas. Like, it is top tier fantasy. The world building's nuts. It's super unique. The fighting is great. Rob J. Hayes, everybody loves Rob J. Hayes. Like, everybody talks about him, but then no one read this book. And like, I have a bunch of people who like Rob J. Hayes and recommend Rob J. Hayes, and they haven't read this book. And I'm like, well, why haven't you read? Every time one of your favorite authors puts out a new book, everybody always reads it. And then no one picked this up day one, and now it's like forgotten in time, and that's a travesty. And you need to read it right now.
I've picked up Failures whenever I saw Mike's video, so it's definitely on my need and / want to reads on my shelf over there. So I'm adding brilliant. More to, the more people talk about it, the more I want to read it sooner rather than later, for sure.
Yes. One of my friends is actually reading it right now because I read it. So I did that much. But no, oh my gosh, it is so good. And yes, I legit was the meme of the dude with the red string on the wall.
Yes.
Because
100%.
like yes.
You talk about nailing. You talk about nailing, pulling the pieces together too. The last 50 pages of this book. You just do this for the last 50 pages of the book. You just go.
Yes.
You're like the whole time. It's so good.
Yeah. It was one of those books where like pretty much before like I was not sure what was happening. I was trying to understand, and like there's so much going on that you're just like, what is this? Sure. And then when it like that ending, and you're just like jaw dropped for like 50 pages. Oh my gosh, it is a fantastic book.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I've not read it yet. I'll be honest. I'm kind of.
This is a U book. It's a U book. This is a U book.
I think I will like it. So here's the thing, and this is probably a toxic trait of mine, but I had the Failures like ready to read, and then when like Mike talked about it, I'm like, oh, like I like to be the person to put people on. So when something becomes like,
that'd be a trendsetter.
Like when the trend is already set, I'm usually just like, so I'm like, okay, what else can I find that no one's read? So I did have it set. I have the hardcover, and I'm ready to read it. But the same thing happened with Sun Eater. Like it like blew up, and I was like, I'm gonna wait a few years and then read it. So, yeah.
I started it, but I had started it right after Royal Assassin, and it was just so tonally different, and I was like in the zone. I was in the like epic fantasy writing style too, and then it was very contemporary writing style, and I was like, that is not the mood. That is not the mood. So
the series is called The Wonderlands, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything to do with like Alice in Wonderland type stuff?
No.
Is that no? Just okay.
It is not. But I'm telling you, man, it's one of those books where like if I could just get everyone to read it, I know what would happen. Right. And that's like the most frustrating part, right? Is because like even John, right? 3/4 of the book, John from Talking Story was like, I'm not into this, dude. It's just not working. And then like the end worked well enough for him that he finished like with a positive experience. And I think the next book will like, he even admitted like if the next book is as good as the last 100 pages and I see where he's going, then like those first 600 pages that I thought were might actually end up being like really, really good. I need to see what the heck he's doing. Right. All right. That's the end of our soapbox time. You guys ranted well. Saw a lot of passion from Shay. I'm proud of him.
Yes.
I'm proud of him. All right. Time to move on.
It's not good.
Time to move on to our first user question. And that is, what's the most disappointing book of the year for you so far? We're going to start with Red. We're going to go the opposite direction. Red, just let us know, man, what let you down this year?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of John Scalzi. I don't know if y'all have read his works. He's really good science fiction. He's famous for his Old Man's War series. Really cool military science fiction. Another book is Starter Villain, which is really funny because it's about a person who inherits a villain empire and there's talking cats involved. That's really funny. And some other great stuff. And another book that he had I was super excited for was Red Shirts. No pun intended. I'm a big fan of Star Trek, and it's playing off the trope of the red shirt of typically, they go on an away mission. If you're wearing the red shirt, you're not a part of the main cast, you're dead. And it sounded like a really funny idea of them kind of going off of that of like, oh, hey, we keep dying. What's going on? And again, I'm a big fan of his writing, but for some reason, this just did not land with me. And again, my granddad is the person I talked to. We go back and forth on science fiction because he's the one who got me into it along with my dad. He's my dad's dad. And so, yeah, it just didn't land. It was like the premise is cool. It started off pretty funny, and like they were sitting there noticing, it's like, why does basically they're like, why are these tropes continuously happening in this story? Like was kind of breaking the fourth wall, so to speak. But then it didn't pick up momentum from that point on. It was one of those that it just had a really strong like 25%, and then it just kept deflating until I was like, I didn't DNF it, but I got pretty close. And I typically almost never DNF a book. And that was one of them I got really close, and I was so bummed about that.
He put out another book this year, When the Moon Hits Your Eye?
Yeah, When the Moon Hits Your Eye. Yeah.
He has some wild ideas.
Yeah.
I know the thing I remember the most about him is that Daniel Green's review of Starter Villain is one of the worst books he's ever read. It's like the meanest review I've ever seen Daniel Green do. It's like, it's rough. And I was like, I kind of want to read this just to see if it's this bad.
Yeah, it's not one of Scalzi's best, but I still enjoyed it. I still need to read Kaiju Preservation Society. I mean, they're always like funny names.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have that one.
And if you like Starship Troopers and stuff, go read Old Man's War. It's great. I know Grifkin has read it. We've talked about that. And then he has some really good stuff out there. Actually, book 7 of that series comes out next month. But yeah, just this one just didn't land. Again, it had a lot of potential, but just didn't happen.
I got you.
Womp womp.
I was gonna go to Shay, but he
He's gone.
So much. He was like, I'm out.
out here. How dare you talk about John Scalzi like that? Yeah, if you go watch that Daniel Green review of Starter
I remember
Villain,
that one.
I don't think I've ever seen him more animated about hating a book in my life.
That was like why I didn't buy it. I was planning on buying it.
Oh, he
because
looks
the
so
cover.
cool with the cat
It looks
on the
so.
cover.
It's so. Yeah. And then I was like, never mind.
Yeah, I do. I have Kaiju Preservation Society, which has pretty good reviews, if I remember. I think
I've seen
probably
the same.
his best reviewed book overall.
I'm so sorry.
I'll never forgive you. So
He had 3.
I already did. We already forgave him 3 times before you guys got here. So
Oh, sure.
yeah, he's kind of a meanie off camera. You know how some people are different on camera and off camera. Shay,
It's a mask.
He's someone else.
yeah, it's a mess. As soon as the camera turns off, he's like,
Listen here, you pieces of garbage now.
his whole voice changed. Yeah.
He's like, the Zen thing is just for the camera.
Yeah. I think it's a
He's
play
actually
for
the
sure.
Hulk inside.
Yeah, that's
He's
cool.
always angry.
All right, Sherilyn, what's been your most disappointing read?
Oh my gosh. So my most disappointing read, there's no reason it should have been as disappointing as it was. I just genuinely had no idea what to expect, and yet I expected the wrong thing. And it was with the book Leviathan Wakes. I had seen the gorgeous special anniversary edition where it's like blackout with like the pink foil and the pink edges, and something about it just felt like epic. And I'd gotten that as a Christmas gift for my brother-in-law, and it stuck in my head for like a year and a half, and I just for some reason was hooked on the idea of this book with no idea what it was about. And I also didn't realize there was a TV show about it, and so people already knew what it was about. So I was like, okay, I'm finally going to read it. Like space opera, sci-fi, something. Let's go. And it was just, it did not land in like any way. Like it started out all right because it had a like noir mystery solving element to it. And that is one of my favorite things. I love mysteries, and I love detective storylines. But the direction the story went in it just wasn't something it was akin to like a zombie situation, and I have never liked zombies. I've never been interested in zombies. I'm kind of anti-zombies, and it wasn't a zombie thing that happened, and I've been told that I should give it another go because preacher, this is my moment. We can't be spreading lies like this. This is the internet that lives forever.
This is the plot of the TV show the movie my daughter watches. It's called oh my gosh, what was it? It's a Disney movie about the zombies and the cheerleaders and the werewolves. Oh my gosh,
Zombie High or something like that.
Disney?
It's a Disney.
It's like a high school show. It just zombies.
Yeah.
My daughter watches it.
We'll come back to it.
Cool. Yeah, that I know what you're talking about. Totally. But yeah, no, that book just it wasn't anything like what I expected, even though I had no reason to expect what I expected. And then it went in this weird route that I was just like not interested. But yeah, I've been told to give it another try. That where I thought where it was starting to feel like it was going isn't really how it goes, and so maybe I'll come back to it later.
I'll back that up.
Book 1 is gas. You're crazy. Get out of here. By the way,
why does this keep happening to me?
Because you got a lot of weird ticks.
I will say
I'm allowed to have an opinion.
I think that if I was going to sell that book to someone in hopes that they would love it, even though it technically is a space opera, Book 1 is about 2 dudes and a detective story, and the thing that happens at the end is basically a horror book, and that's the sell. It's not Red Rising. It's not like Sun Eater. It's not this big epic Star Wars-y. It's not. It's
pseudo hard science fiction too.
Yeah, and you're with 2 dudes that you either have to like or like the character work enough to like want to be around them. And one of those dudes is kind of a douche, right? So like, I could see where if you were coming into that thinking you were getting one thing that it wasn't that. I thought the antagonist. The main problem was like the coolest because I'm a horror junkie. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It is really cool.
Have you watched the show at all?
I have not. I want to finish.
Okay.
I've read the first 3 books. I want to.
The show.
I've watched the show, but haven't read it.
I've done both.
I've heard the show doesn't go to the end. The show goes like through like 6 books or something. Like it kind of goes to. There's a natural stopping point in the books I've been told at like book 6 or 7. That's like. A big time jump happens after that. You can basically like break those up into different like eras almost. Is that true?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's what I've been told. So I need to catch back up to it, but I understand where you're coming from on that. If that's not what you were looking to get.
Yeah, not at all. I think there, like, especially now that I have started reading horror, there's a good chance that I could go back to it. And now that I've like know what to expect, there's a good chance I could go back to it and like have a great time. Or a better time than I did. But yeah, I did not prepare myself well.
I'll never forget reading the bathroom scene. If you guys know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about from the show.
The bathroom scene was the moment I went, this is my kind of stuff.
yeah, that right there is horror. Yep.
Yeah, they nailed it in the show, that's for sure. It's
Oh, I would hate to see that.
It's such a good show.
It's a very good show.
Shay, have you read any of those?
I haven't read any of Daniel Abraham stuff or any of the James S.A. Corey stuff yet, but I have plans to.
I need to read this Long Price Quartet. Everybody keeps saying it's good.
I know.
Yeah,
everyone says it's so good. I really think it's going to be right up my alley. And a few friends of mine are like, dude, you're going to love it. So
except for I keep hearing everybody say it's great, but then they like also say that like not much, like it's not very like
it's
not very fantasy.
It's so good. It's so good. It has
I
enough
heard someone
fantasy.
say word for word, not much happens. Is what I heard.
They're wrong.
It's not like action packed.
Yeah,
it's much more like it's more of like a political intrigue and like a very like
the richest characters you will ever read.
I'm sorry, I've read Red Rising, so.
So like there's Red Rising and then like it's just right under. Yeah, just right under.
You know how to speak my language. That's fine. All right.
I got you.
Awesome. Tabitha.
It was called
Just a look.
So Disappointing, I forgot. Yours for the Taking. It was a dystopian sci-fi where global warming has basically demolished the world. And I love those kind of stories anyway, but it was a little too on the nose for a lot of politics, which I don't mind I don't mind books getting into politics or anything like that, but I like it when it's more buried in nuance because then it's more readable over time. So like if it's so topical that it's in the moment, it kind of takes me out, one, because you're reading a book, and then two, it doesn't have longevity. And all the characters felt like they were just symbols for an argument, like a political argument, rather than fully fleshed out deep characters. And I don't mind symbol characters either sometimes, but wrapped up with all of the social commentary that was going on in there, it was just too much for my personal taste.
Nice. That sounds like I hard DNF'd. One of the few I've done in the last like year or two was The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin.
Okay.
Ooh, you talk about overdoing the like hard political, no nuance, like just straight up. It's about this girl who like represents the city of New York, and she's like part of a minority group, and then like all the bad people are white dudes who like live in the city, and like it's the most like straight up, straightforward. And I was just like, can we have a little bit of nuance?
Yeah.
Like, can we bury this in any story at all? Like, you know, so I feel you on that one. Sometimes it's like, I read plenty of books that I disagree with the underlying themes, but like let's underlie them a little bit. Right?
Yes.
Like,
yes. Not so on the nose.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I recently read, well, this is just going off of what y'all are saying about the very didactic, on the nose, blatant, but a lot of people say that about Blood Over Brighthaven, but I actually really liked it. Like, yes, the blight is global warming.
I think
yes, it is global warming. That's what it is. And yes, it's like super in your face, like patriarchy bad, racism bad. But the characters are well done enough to where I don't care how on the nose it is. And a lot of people gave this, like, even in my comment section on my review, people were like, it's so on the nose. And I'm like, I know, it's great. Like, I don't like it's on the nose, but it's like it just did the world building and the character work so well that I don't care if the themes are on the nose. Yeah.
Here's the reason why I think it works for her, because she does this in both of the books that I've read. Like both of her books are pretty on the nose, right?
Yeah.
Sort of Kaigen is also very on the nose. I think it works because even her main characters that are supposed to be the positive characters are super nuanced and often wrong and like complicated. So like in that story, for example, like the main character, she is the person that you think you're going to be rooting for in a lot of ways, but like she also makes big mistakes and like she misses the boat a lot, and she has her own racial issues and her own
racist.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like she's shoving these concepts in your face, but she is not also painting like this person is everything that's right and this person is everything that's wrong, right? The other main character in that book, right, he has problems too. But he ends up making choices that like basically make him one of the like best characters in the book, right? And there's that nuance that exists kind of in the midst of that I think allows you to be able to work through, you know, how on the nose it is. That's what I think makes it different, right? Is that like a lot of people dislike the main character of Blood Over Brighthaven. Like she's kind of annoying, right? And within the first 100 pages, you find out she's racist, even though she's mad that people are being like, she's getting pushed down because she's, you know, because she's a woman, and then she's just straight up racist, right? Like, and it works. It works with the way the story functions, but I think that's the difference.
I actually had a friend of mine that like didn't like how he described it as it feels very feminist, and I'm like, well, one, it's like, first of all, she's racist, so it's like there's like this whole narcissism of she's like, I'm doing this to put all women on my back, and then she's like, oh, but they're stupid, Quinn. Like, I found it to be super nuanced and like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I found it to be extremely not one-sided.
Yeah, same here. I never thought anything that they were experiencing wasn't accurate to our world. Like, it's like that same patriarchy exists in our society, in the real world. And man, ML Wong is truly one of the best to come out of Self Pub. Yeah. Masaki is still her best character.
Yes.
Blood Over Brighthaven. I have a tattoo of Masaki. She's the guy.
As you should, and that checks out.
If anybody complains that she's too on the nose, they need to go read The City We Became, because
really,
imagine more on the nose, and the main character can't do anything wrong, and she's perfect, right? She's like, there's nothing about her that you could ever criticize, and literally, like, the bad guy walks in the room, and the main character's like this. Oh, there's the white dude. No, he's the bad guy. Like, it's like that. It's like that on the nose, right? Like, she just says it. She's like, well, we know he's the bad guy because he's white. And I'm like, oh, God. So on the it's just not. It's, you know, so, but I have heard people say that about Emma Wong. And I think it is both on the nose and done with extreme care and nuance.
Yeah, like, those characters aren't just symbols.
But I also disagree with every fiber of my being. I'm like, nope, she's just that good of a writer. Like, it can be on the nose and still be excellent. Well, and it is.
The thing that like put me over on sort of Kaigen, right, is like, I'm going to be super vague because it's decently spoilery, but like halfway through the book ish, right? There's a character.
Oh, we're with you.
Yep, we're there.
We're with you.
There's a character that you're like, this is her saying that a certain subset of people are irredeemable pieces of trash, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then something happens that makes you realize that's not where she was going with this character. And she has a more nuanced view of things like redemption, of things like generational trauma, of things like just being what you've always been told you're supposed to be, and then being able to actually overcome like the worldview that was given to you. Like,
it has so many layers.
Yeah, that is nuance while being on the nose, right?
I can't wait to read that. I did the Kickstarter for Blood Over Brighthaven, so I haven't read that yet. But it's like the special Kickstarter, and I'm getting the Kickstarter of Sword of Kaigen, and I can't wait to reread that one. It's so good.
I think Sword of Kaigen is a better characters. I think Blood Over Brighthaven was a cooler story.
Yeah,
and cool magic system.
Yeah, that's how I would kind of like. I like Sword of Kaigen a little bit more, but I would say like the cooler story overall would probably be Blood Over Brighthaven. A little more unique, you know.
I think Blood Over Brighthaven is a tighter story. Like Sword of Kaigen has higher highs and lower lows, whereas like Blood Over Brighthaven, it's all excellent. Sword of Kaigen has like some bits that are just like, and then it has moments where I'm like, this is truly one of the best moments in a book that I've read.
Yeah. So and Blood Over Brighthaven does more of a normal, natural rising action climax. Falling action, whereas Sword of Kaigen's probably the most unique setup of like plot progression that I've read in a book like that. So it worked for me. I loved it. I was like, she's doing that, and then she did it.
I was shocked.
Like, that's pretty sick, you know. But yeah, I don't know how we got there. I feel like that should be. I feel like that should be the series.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got there.
Bookstreet Boys Podcast. I don't know how we got there. Yeah. Shay, what's the most disappointing book you've read this year?
So it's kind of a disappointing series, but I'm going to use this book as So I loved this series last year. I had it as like, I thought it was going to be like top 15 series of all time, maybe even top 10 if this guy could bring it home. And then after the book that everyone says is the best, it nosedived. And I'm talking about the Dresden Files.
Oh.
So here's the thing. Everyone and their mom says first 6 books are a little bit sexist, but if you get through that, it's not bad. That is a lie. That is an absolute bold lie, because the first 6 books didn't even bother me. Like, yes, there is that sort of schwarmy noir of all the taverns in town. She had to walk into mine. And, you know, he talks about girls' assets a little too much for my tastes.
A couple times.
It was untasteful, but it was never bringing me out of the book.
Is it the training raw?
Book 12. Okay, so end of Ghost Story. He has a weird end of Ghost Story. There is a weird sex thing that he brings into the story that I did not appreciate. But Cold Days On, all right. why does he describe both of his best friend's daughters as hot? I don't care if they're 18 and 25.
Yeah.
Stop calling your best friend's daughter hot.
Well, and he also says he's known her since she was in her training bra, and that's the weirdest part to me. Like, why do you say this?
Wasn't in training bras anymore.
He says that.
Yeah, he says
that. There's a point in the book where he says the sexiest thing a woman. This is quote verbatim. Yeah. The sexiest thing a woman can give a man is permission. Jail.
Oh my gosh.
My tolerance. Okay, so like,
you want me to read these books?
Dorky guys write fantasy books, so I'm used to awkward sex scenes. This has the worst sex scene I've ever read in my life.
Oh no!
It made me stop. I went and read 3 other books, and then came back, and I was still mid sex scene.
You just split past it. Oh.
Man, I've read I think 1 through 5. I have not read. I have not read the one. Well, I've not read the one that's like based around like a porn shoot. I think it's
White.
Gotcha.
Is it White Knight?
I think
Is it White Knight?
I have to go back and look. The one where he's investigating something at a porn shoot. I haven't started that one.
The porn one wasn't even as bad as the later
It wasn't
ones.
bad. That wasn't bad at all, actually.
I thought the porn one had a pretty like.
That was pretty tame, actually.
This used to be a family-friendly channel.
I agree with you.
The older Molly gets, the more he pushes the envelope with sexualizing her. But it doesn't matter. If she's 25, she's still your best friend's daughter. She'll never not be your best friend's daughter.
Not only that, but like every time he looks at her, he thinks to himself, I've known her since she was in a training bra. Like, can you put it in any other way? Why that way? Why are those the words you choose?
If I was Jim Butcher's best friend and I had a daughter, I'd be like,
I've got some questions for you, man.
We're not going over to Jim's house later, guys. Kid's name is like Tolly or something. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, in this letter at the end, it mentions Hannah, which is Michael's second eldest daughter, and it mentions that she's 18 now, and apparently she's hot. Why 2 of your best friend's daughters are hot?
Jail.
Nothing.
Jail.
Why?
Jail. That's wild.
In the common perception, Daniel Green, everybody says like the first few books are a little sexist and then it's fine. I've actually found the opposite. Post changes, it's like everyone who loves Jim Butcher's writing is on board. So he's like, oh, if you're not gone yet, then I can really turn the dial up.
I can talk about my hot best friend's daughter.
Exactly.
Your hot best friend's
well, my best friend's hot. Whatever.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. I love the books I've read, but I can imagine that would be a little much. You know.
Now I know what scenes to skip. Got it.
Yeah, I know what scenes to skip.
No, because he'll just randomly say it. Molly will be like cooking or something, and he'll be like, "I've known her since she was in a training."
Like, why do you keep saying?
Why did you say this?
Oh god. Man, but I do think that the thing you said about recognizing that most fantasy writers are like little white nerdy guys is it's so important to remember, because like there's a 40 I think it's like 35 to 40 page scene in the second King Killer book that is insane. Like, it's the whole time you're reading it, you're going, homie was sitting in his mom's basement writing this out, just going to town, and like it is not
that's
accurate.
Why I had it. That's one of the few books I've ever DNF'd this Artemis by Andy Weir. Main character is a female, and it definitely is a dude who doesn't know much about women writing about a woman, and it is unpleasant.
Unfortunate.
I could not get through it. Yeah.
Unpleasant.
He knows everything about science and math and stuff, but like he didn't go and ask some friends and study up on the opposite sex before he wrote the book.
Female friend's perspective.
Yeah, like it was just horrible.
One thing I think a lot of authors don't realize is like whenever I'm reading about a character killing another character, I'm not in the shoes of someone killing someone. It's like I'm watching it. So when you're describing a sex scene, I'm not in the sex scene. I'm in the cuck chair watching it happen. Like, and no one wants to be in. Most people do not want to be in the cuck chair as this scene is progressing.
I did not have that on my bingo card for today, Shay.
Am I wrong? Like,
to all my family-friendly viewers, do not Google cuck chair.
Okay, sorry. But would y'all disagree? Like, does anyone have this sentiment when reading those types of scenes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we were talking about this earlier in the Discord about Empire the Vampire, right? Like
I was thinking about the cup chair. Like, what do you mean we were talking about this earlier?
Yeah. Stop.
Oh man.
Discord is wild.
As I was saying. Also,
I mean, it is, but
in the description, hop in Bookstreet Boys Discord.
yeah, you're gonna be in for a wild ride.
Yeah.
That's one of the channels.
Oh dear Lord. No, what I was saying was we were talking about some people bounce off of like the sex scenes in Empire the Vampire, which I get, or especially the second book. But in my opinion, the second book has the most gratuitous like sex scenes. But the one that I thought was the most like offensive and like not necessary was the first one, right? When you find out that he's got a problem. If you guys have read those books, has everybody here read this book?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, this
I'm with you,
Cheryl. When you get there, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Because it's one of those scenes where you're going, he didn't have to do that, right? Like I feel like he was sitting in his basement and his mom was bringing him pizza rolls, and he was like.
My response was, "That's metal."
No.
It's something. It's something. That's the epitome of the 45-page sex scene in the second book of King Killer, where he is so good at sex that the sex fairy tells him he can't leave because she needs to have more sex with him, right? Like, and you're sitting there like, this is not.
Okay, so I have some complicated feelings on this. Like,
let's go. Great episode.
Kvothe tricks Valyrian. Like, he names her and he tricks her. Now, the fact that he is like good at sex as a virgin, man, unrealistic. But Daniel Green has pushed this narrative that it's his diddling that like made her like it's not because he's that good at sex that she makes him stay in the realm. It's because he tricks her. He outsmarts her.
It seems to be a little bit of both. Like she's like, I don't.
It's not pure diddle
factor. I can't imagine you not being here. Like you need to stay because like this experience has been unlike any other. You know.
Tell you what's even worse though, the culture of warrior women that didn't know that coitus made babies. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. Where they're like, "That's not how babies come from. Babies just happen sometimes." And I'm like, "What?"
That sounds like Wonder Woman or something.
And there's a point where like he's training and he's getting distracted, and she's like, "Why don't we just like go do it in the bushes to get your mind out of the gutter?" And I'm like, no, "Who would do that?"
Again,
no one.
In a basement. Mom, you bring me some pizza rolls?
Just make sure to knock first, please.
You know, like that. That's what was happening. All right. How did we get here?
It's the name of the game.
We don't know how we got here.
All right, I think it's my turn to talk about the most disappointing book of the year, and I'm gonna talk about 3 books, all that are a little different. The first is if this question,
following the rules.
If this question could be interpreted as what's the most disappointing book of the last 365 days, we could just talk about Wind and Truth. Man.
Oh, this poor book hasn't it been through enough?
I don't know if you guys know this.
Dead.
I was extremely disappointed in this book.
Never heard that.
Don't say.
I've never heard that.
You need to get the gif of "we know."
Yeah. All right, moving on.
It's like he's the opposite of Red Rising with Wind and Truth. He talks about it and brings it up as often as possible, but for the opposite reason.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. All right. My lowest rated book since January, right? So probably not that disappointing because I didn't expect to enjoy it, but kind of sucked was this one, The Rise of Kiyoshi. It's an Avatar book. Really weird combination of like reading like a YA book while trying to be kind of edgy. And the ending sucks. And the main character is a toolbox, and there's a 0 redemption arc. And I don't know why anybody would want to follow her at all. So, and I read this with our Nine Realms book club, and they're all Avatar fans. And I think the best rating that we gave it, because we all have a Google sheet where we rate each book we read each month. I think the best rating was a 3, and they're like all Avatar fans.
Wow!
So that tells you how good that bad boy was.
From that, got it.
That sucks.
Yeah, it honestly, there was nothing about it that was like, this is awful. It was just like subpar for the whole book. Maybe even a little lower than mid. To be
mediocre.
My most disappointing book, and this is a hot take. I think I'm the only person I know who doesn't talk well about this book. And the first 75% of this book was actually pretty good. And then I think it ends so bad that it went from like a 4-star to like a 2.5 star for me. And most people disagree with me, and that's okay. But I was super disappointed by Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames.
I'm scared of that one.
Listen. This part right here, gas. Ending, dog water. Okay. So, like, have you ever read a book that was paced a certain way, and you're like, okay, we're getting to the big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like everything's headed towards the big thing. The big thing lasts 5 pages.
Mm-hmm.
And then the book's over. So like you're like, we're getting to the big thing. And then like I start noticing that like there's only 50 pages left and we still haven't gotten to the thing that we've been pushing to for the whole book. And then we get to the thing and the thing ends in 5 pages. And then there's like a little bit of like, description about what happens after. And then the book was over. And I was just like, all that for that?
But maybe the real Kings of the Wild were the friends you made along the way.
And that's and that I think is the problem, right? Is what this really is let's spend time with some awesome, hilarious characters, right?
Journey before destination, man.
Stop. Sometimes the destination needs to be good. We talked about Wind and Truth. No, I'm kidding. So I think the problem for me was just like I was enjoying the characters, but I was actually invested in the plot. And I don't know if Nicholas Eames was that invested in the plot because the way the plot ends was just like really unimpressive for me. Maybe I just had the wrong thoughts on it. But yeah, that was my most disappointing read. I think I ended up giving it a 3. But like that 3 is like all character. Like the 3 is for the characters. The characters are hilarious. The like magician, sorcerer, scientist guy.
Moog.
Is the funniest freaking character in the history of fantasy fiction. Yeah, dude, he's so funny. But yeah, so that's
is this like book 1 in the series or
series of standalones?
Okay. Yeah, so like the next one is about a tangential character from this book, the character you kind of like are told about and see a little bit, and it's just a different story within the same kind of like universe.
Gotcha.
So I got that one.
I would say it's worth a read.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I love Kings of the Wild, but I also read it like 6, 7, maybe even 8 years ago. It's been a while. I was in the military when I read it, so it's been a hot minute.
Okay,
but I loved it.
What were you saying, Tabitha?
So I bought that one a few years ago, and now I'm worried because I didn't like Black Tongue Thief. Sorry, Shay, for the comedy.
What?
I didn't like the comedy elements at all.
Read the room. I think we all love it, except for Tabitha.
So now I'm worried that I will hate Kings of the Wild. Do they align comedy-wise? Do they have similar comedy styles?
Black Tongue Thief is more crass.
Yeah, I don't like
Irish pub comedy.
Yeah, Black Tongue Thief is more Irish. I think it's the best way to put it. This is rock and roll band banter.
Are you considering The Daughter's War by Christopher Buehlman? It doesn't have that level of comedy, and I actually think it's a better book than Black Tongue Thief.
Yeah, so
I gave Black Tongue Thief like a 4. Daughter's War is like a 6 out of 5. Like it's phenomenal.
Oh, interesting.
Daughter's War is way better
because you're following what's her. Okay. Remind me her name.
Galva.
Yeah, so it's about Galva and the war prior to the Black Tongue Thief.
And it doesn't have any comedy. In fact, it's very bleak.
Since you're not with that main
character. I love bleak.
Yeah, since you're not with that main character who is like, he thinks he's hilarious, you don't get really any of that, right? Like it's like you're hearing her story from her perspective. So I've heard it's a super big tone shift.
Yeah, and that's
And
why
it would be
Black
needed for
Tongue
me.
Thief fans don't like it, but I thought Black Tongue Thief was good. I thought Daughter's War was excellent, but I also understand you may not want to read it because it's like, what are you building up to? Because book 2 will probably be back in Kinch's POV. So,
Yeah.
But just as a standalone, I think Daughter's War is excellent.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So moving on to our big topic. This is one where I'm going to kind of step back and not give a lot of comments if I can. It's really hard for me to not talk, so we'll see how that goes. Because I have a video on this that I just put out today. So go watch that later if you want to. But I want to hear what you guys have to say about a real question that I think comes to everybody, and that is, how do you deal with reading slumps? With just the way I described it in my video was that feeling of just not wanting to read. Like, you have the time, you have the opportunity, and the ways you usually read, you get to those moments and you're just like, nah. Like, that feeling can last for a while, and like how you deal with that. So we'll start with Shay. Tell us, man, how do you deal with reading slumps?
So I usually don't get them, but I recently had one that was. So I don't know. I'm pretty good judge of what I'll like, but about 2-3 months ago, I read like 5 books back to back that I all thought would be up my alley, and I didn't like any of them. Like, these were like 5 back-to-back 2s. So,
ouch.
Yeah.
And you kept going.
Yeah, I kept going because I kept thinking the next one was like a sure thing and was going to see me through, and it didn't. So I returned to reading authors I like. So usually it's either read an author I love, which I did. I read an earlier Janny Wirtz book, or reading outside the genre. Or one thing that helps me a lot is switching up mediums. Like, I read One Piece whenever I'm going through a mega slump, and just something about this story. I mean, manga in general will help me change my pace and get me out of that. And then the next time I go to a prose form story, I'm energized again. But like One Piece especially is really good at like, okay, forget all that stuff. Just have a blast with these characters, and then I can dive into a new book fresh.
Yeah, I feel you. All right. Let's go to the cat lady.
Hello, that's me. I have a couple ways of dealing with reading slumps, or kind of maybe 3 now. But the biggest one will just to rest my brain. Like, I get, I've started to notice just in my week that I read so much during the week that I really need to take the weekend to just let my brain chill, because between work and life and reading, and I never really stop reading because I listen to audiobooks in the car, and then I'm reading physically or on my phone or Kindle. My brain like needs that break, and I'll burn myself out if I keep going and then hit that slump. So I've just started to honor, like, if my brain needs to rest from a book, then just give it rest, and that'll get me back in the mood to read. Other ways of dealing with it will be an audiobook, because that way I can, like, it's a different part of the brain kind of. So like, I can just put it on, and like while I'm doing laundry or dishes or driving, the cat is attacking the sofa again. I can just put it on, and like that'll kind of kick my brain back into gear, and like want to dive back into a story, want to dive back into a world, into learning more. And then the third way I'm finding out, because I did this last weekend when I was giving my brain a break, but I was like, I still want to be accomplishing something. I still want to be reading. And it's basically what Shay just said. And it's reading manga, which I haven't read manga in years. And Preacher's familiar with this series that he got Tabitha on, and they got me on. And it felt so good. One, it just felt really nostalgic to read manga again, but also it's like Shay said, it's a different level of reading. And because, you get a visual along with it, it like when you're just tired of reading and you don't know what to do, and you're not feeling it, it's an easier read to get yourself back into. So, those are kind of my, like, just honor needing rest, and then try a different medium, basically, are the things that I find work for me, and also keep me from getting into a slump.
Tabitha.
Yeah, I almost never get into a slump either. And at most it lasts like a day. And then like if I am in a slump, I'll just like hang out with my husband or whatever. So
you don't hang out with him unless you're in a slump though.
No, well he'll be
I
like
haven't seen
playing
you
the
in
game and
days.
I'll be reading the whole time. Like that is our hangout. So like and yeah, I will basically avoid slumps by always reading different genres. I don't really like solidly read in one specific genre. I read horror, some sci-fi, and then fantasy, and like a good mix of those, and then manga, and that all keeps me together. Basically, never being in a slump.
Must be nice.
It is nice. I like it.
Yeah, I should give it a try.
Must be nice to just be better than everyone else. Red, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much in a similar vein of changing up genres. I definitely want to make sure that I don't stay into fantasy too long or sci-fi. I actually remember one of the Books, Beverages, and Besties when y'all did DNF Blackmouth, and I think it's because y'all just finished like the Staircase in the Woods, and I was like, it's like, no, it's because you read two horror books right next to each other, and it was like that's one of the things I try to do because if I stay too long, and sometimes I get excited, like I did Rhythm of War and Wind and Truth right next to each other. I should never have done that. Just because it's just a lot of fantasy. Either of them. There's a lot of fan. Hey, Rhythm of War is my favorite one, so
it's my favorite one.
And so, yeah, it's just too much fantasy, right, at any given time. And so I definitely mix up the genre. And I'm usually reading more than one book at once, too. But I always try to do my best to keep in the genres split. And then I think, that I just finished 20th Century Boys. I got that book on my birthday. And I think what's nice about manga is because you complete something, right? Because sometimes, especially when you're reading something like a Stormlight Archive book, it's like, man, am I ever going to finish this? It just kind of feels like a marathon. And so with like 20th Century Boys and I got Solo Leveling Volume 1 and read both of those in the same day, and just being able to finish something was rewarding, and it felt good and made me excited to continue the momentum going forward. So yeah, changing up genre is really big.
20th Century Boys has really hit for sure.
It's really good.
All right, moving on to the next question. User question 2. If you could buy 100 copies, and obviously 100 copies is not like a lot of copies of one book to give out to everybody 100. Right? Like if there's just, what is the book that you just want to like hand? It might not even be your favorite book, but it's the book you just want everybody to experience so you can talk to them about it and you think they'll like it. What would that book be? We'll start with Red.
I feel like y'all can guess mine. Just take a guess.
If you say Stormlight,
it's going to be Way of Kings, isn't it? That makes sense. Okay.
I see. I got you.
Yeah. Hyperion by Dan Simmons. I mean, I have a video on this on my channel y'all can check out whenever I open this up because this book is I'm super stoked about it. I'm doing a buddy read with a lot of y'all actually in September. Can't wait to read it again. This is probably like the 10th or 11th time I've read it. Because it is a book that I have a lot of memories with my dad. But also it's just a really good story. It's book 1 of a 4-book series, but if you don't want to read the other 3 books, you don't have to because it's still all encompassing. It has loose threads ready for book 2 and 3 and 4 so forth, but it's influenced by Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, so you get these different stories of these this pilgrimage and these different stories and why are they on this pilgrimage, what has caused them to all be together, and they're beautiful stories. I mean, almost every single one of them are really impactful. 2 of them are very impactful, but I don't want to go into spoiler territory and stuff, especially for those doing the buddy read with me. But love it. I love the setting, and I feel like Broken Binding did such an amazing job. Like they made this Shrike look absolutely amazing, and just the whole vibe of the story and the time tombs. I mean, I can go on and on. And even if you're not a huge fan of like sci-fi, like each individual story kind of has its own like mini genre inside of it. So you kind of get a taste of some fantasy and some science fiction, some noir, some horror. So it's such a good book. And yeah, 100% would be happy to just give 100 copies so I can just yammer on and on. Because not even my brother has read it. And now he's going to. I've told him because he's like, he has my old copy that was my dad, our dad's. And he said he's going to read it. So I need more people to read it so I can geek out with you about it. So, yeah.
We're going to do it September.
Let's go.
Super stoked.
I have my Broken Binding edition. And I like how they put both dust covers in there. Like there's the classic that they sent in the mail. And then there's, the newer one that they have.
Yeah. There we go.
That's
that is kind of hot.
I got to frame this. Yeah, Dan Simmons writes some amazing science fiction, and he writes really good horror too. So
Summer of Night is an all-timer for me. It's better than It. You heard it here first. It's a better version of the It story than It, in my opinion.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a hard take, but all right. Well, we're gonna read that next month, and we're gonna see if you're right. And I'm gonna hold you to it.
Yeah, stay tuned.
I'm sure you are. So many people love that book. I can't imagine. I don't think I've heard much bad about it at all. So,
heck yeah.
Sherilyn, what are you buying? What are you giving?
Oh
to
my
100
gosh.
people?
Okay, so this book, the reason I would get it would be to be able to tell 100 people over and over just the story behind the reason I have it. This book is The Star Is My Destination by Alfred Bester, and this is, I think, a 1950s or maybe later science fiction. Yeah, maybe 1908. I don't know. 1956. Yeah, it's a 1950 science fiction, and the author Alfred Bester actually won the very first Hugo Award for The Demolished Man, a different book. But this story, as you can see, it's real short, and I don't remember if it was intentionally a kind of retelling, reimagining of the Count of Monte Cristo, or if it was like inspired by it. But it's about a man who has been marooned in space, and a ship comes by that could save him and doesn't, leaves him for dead. But he ends up getting back to Earth, and his whole story, it's a story of vengeance to get back at the people who left him for dead. But beyond the story just being really cool and wacky and fun, this book means a lot to me because it was I read it in high school in my senior English class. Spring of senior year is like one of the last things I did in high school. But the teacher I had for that course, Mrs. Cook, love her to death. It was her last year teaching. She was retiring. We were her last class, and this was one of the books she had us read. And just who she was as a teacher for me. I got to have her for a few classes in high school, but just who she was as a person, and just how encouraging she was, how creative she was. She was like, she had, she was eccentric, but in like a great way. She was just an amazing teacher and influence in my life. And so this is a book I read for school, and it's stuck with me because of her. And so I would get this book for 100 people just to be able to tell them about Mrs. Cook over and over, because she's the bomb. So there you have it.
Then I had to read that. That sounds awesome.
I hated every book I read in high school. You're so much cooler than me.
Yeah, this was, I lucked out.
We had to read like The Awakening and stuff. It was awful.
Oh, The Awakening sucks.
Oh, I thought you said I love. I thought you said
Chopin.
I thought you said
I get it. Like, it's supposed to show like the way that women were oppressed in that time period, but I'm like, all she did was hate her children. Like, she looked at her sons and were like, "You men, it's your fault," but it's her kids. And then she walks into a lake and dies. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
That's the thing that kills me about The Awakening. I was reading it like, is this supposed to be pro-feminist? Because she does the feminist stuff and then she kills herself.
And she hated her sons. That's the point where I lost it. I'm like, hate your husband, sure. I'll be with you, girl. Your son?
But you made these.
I just didn't grasp the point. I was like, is the point that if you become a feminist, then you like hate your life and die? Like, what is the point of this book? I was so confused.
She cheated on her husband twice, which, it is what it is. I mean, the husband kind of sucked. But then you look at your kids and you're like, you disgusting male parasites. Anyway, I must die.
And go drown myself in the ocean or a lake or whatever it was. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Jane Austen, she was not.
How did you get here? How did you?
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Wow.
My fondest memory from high school book reading was Ender's Game. I guess
same.
Good.
We read Ender's Game as well. We were on the same curriculum. It sounds like.
Nice.
Did you have to read Test of the D'Urbervilles? Oh, so bad, just as bad as The Awakening. So you missed out on that one. All right, moving on. Tabitha.
Okay.
100 copies, one book. What would it be?
this was brought up earlier. I don't have the edition I would give everyone. I would give everyone the omnibus edition. I only have the 2-in-1 edition of Long Price, but I would give everyone the omnibus so that they could have all 4 stories in one.
That's cheating.
Those are hard to get your hands on, though.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
apparently they're
That's
like
why
$200.
it's if you could. I can't, but if I could, that would be amazing because it's so well executed. The execution on this book, on this series, is just so unmatched, and like following the course of 2 people's lives where there's a gap in between each book. This is the best time jump I've had. This is like such a crazy magic system with actual consequences. You want magic that has deep consequences. This has so many consequences, and it starts in book 1 and just escalates throughout. And just amazing dialogue. It's so easy to picture things in your head. It's just such a phenomenal read, and I'm so glad that that Alan pushed everyone on BookTube to read this series because it is so phenomenal.
You're just gonna make me have to read this book. I'm trying.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
It's a rule.
I'm
now.
trying to not add new fantasy series until I finish some.
Okay,
fantasy.
but this is short. This is 2
less
books.
than the size of Way of Kings.
Yes, this is 2 books right here, and they're excellent.
really easy to read.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're saying I
It's
could have
one of
read
the ones that
as
are on the
They're
docket.
bite-sized. You can use them in a reading slump. They're like
Yes.
300 pages, I think.
And because they have that jump in between, you don't have to binge them. You can read that.
Yeah, there's like a
and then
15-year
read
gap
things.
between each book. You can take your
Okay.
time
You
getting
don't-
through the series.
I'm already gonna read them. Okay, you don't.
You have to.
We're just trying to get you to read them
You
sooner.
don't have to work this hard. Okay, you don't have to work.
Yeah, I was already one that read it, but you're pushing my timeline up quite a bit. So I need to go pick them up.
Happy
I
to
need to go find them.
Good.
Are they
It's
hard
a
to
give and
find?
take, okay? It's an even exchange. We do this all to each other.
Are they
The
hard to find?
2-in-1s are not hard to find.
No,
Okay.
not
No,
these
they're
ones.
super
These
easy.
ones are very
Yeah.
easy to find.
Yeah, it's just that 4-in-1 omnibus. I think it's out of print.
Yeah.
Jimmy
Mhm.
Nuts
That John
has
has.
it, but no one else.
No one else.
Tell
All
me the
right,
story. John has it.
Mhm.
Shay. 100 copies, one book. What would it be?
So since you cheated earlier and had 3, I'm just gonna rapid fire through.
300 copies.
Yes,
I love Curse of the Mistwraith. It is next to Sun Eater. Well, it's a little bit over Sun Eater for me, but this is the best series that I've read in years. Since Malazan and Realm of the Elderlings, this is the most I've loved a fantasy series. But a lot of people already know about that. So I brought 2 other picks. The Lost Boy by Christina Henry. If you grew up on Peter Pan, this is amazing. Christina Henry does like grimdark fairy tale reimaginings, and she's been completely forgotten. No one talks about her anymore. She did Alice. She did Red Queen. She did this, which is her best. And then this is like one book that if I could get like anybody on BookTube to read, this would be my first pick. And it's a comic book, Mr. Miracle by Tom King. The thing is, BookTube is like very open to manga. I think the perception is because you have the same creator, like the same writer artist from the beginning of the story to the end of the story, whereas comics, like there's this whole convoluted timeline of what events happen. This is a standalone story, Mr. Miracle by Tom King. Super good. Super good. It's about the world's greatest escape artist trying to escape his depression. And like panel 1, he has attempted to take his own life. And then you see him deal with that. He finds out his wife is pregnant. He goes through all these things. And like there's superhero antics in the background. All the fight scenes are blink and you miss them. And then you deal with him and his wife. Just like, how are we going to get through this? I know you're not okay. How do I make it to where you're okay? And that's what the book's about. And and I love that it glosses over all the sci-fi superhero stuff and goes right to like the character drama.
That sounds awesome.
It does sound really interesting.
Yeah.
It's 12 issues. You could read it in like 2 hours, tops.
You guys are going to make me spend all of my money. This is not a good thing at all. That's one thing I
chose
noticed.
this hobby.
I went to Second and Charles the other week, and I was like, with Second and Charles, I don't know if you guys have those around you, but the books can be decently cheap if you get lucky. And I was like, maybe the manga will be like that too. No, it's like there's like no used manga at all. There was some pretty decent graphic novels that were like pretty cheap. I picked up a basket was it A Basket Full of Heads? I think it's called, by Joe Hill. Those looked really interesting. But all the manga was like still $20-$25 a piece. I'm like, man, I'm gonna read that in like 3 days. It's $25. That's kind of a hard sell. But all right, it's my turn.
Let me just real quick comment on like the price of manga. I bought the like entire collection of Vagabond, which like those 3-in-1s you could read faster than half a volume of One Piece because it's like all art with like a word bubble every like 5 pages. There will be a word bubble in Vagabond, so it's like straight up pictures, and you could read them in like the 3-in-1, like 3 volumes in like 10 minutes. I didn't know that when I paid for all of them, and I was like, dang, that's a lot of money for something I consumed in a couple hours.
Right, like I mean, this is $23 for this one right here, and like day and a half if I really wanted to, right? Like coming from books, that's like it's like, oh gosh, I thought how much I spent on Wind and Truth, and that was like 1,000 pages.
Like 2 years of your life gone.
Yeah. All right, so it's my turn now. I'm gonna shock everybody.
How did we get here?
I don't know how did we get here. I'm gonna shock everybody, and I would get 100 copies of Red Rising, of course.
No way.
That's a nice copy. Can I have that one? I like that.
Nice. Oh wait, hold on, let me show you some of the interior art, like the.
Wow.
Oh, let's go.
This is the Fairy Loot edition.
Oh, okay.
So, and then like the little like world there. So
nice.
It's pretty.
Awesome.
Here's why though. I'm gonna explain. I've said this before. Red Rising is the Ultimate Moments series, and like I have the chapters memorized that are like the big moments that every time someone reads this, we like they call me or they like see me and they're like yell from across the room, I got to chapter 19. And I'm like, you got to chapter 19. And then they come over and they're telling me about like what happened in chapter 19. And like, I just have never experienced a series like that with other people where like, even times I read books with other people, like it's fun and it's enjoyable to engage on it. There's just something about Red Rising that like non-sci-fi fans, sci-fi fans, fantasy fans, horror fans, people who don't read, like it just seems like the one that catches the most people out of all of the books I've tried to get people to get excited about, right? Like Empire of Silence and Sun Eater, like I love it. It's fantastic. But like half the people that I know would bounce off the first 55 pages and probably not finish it, right? Normies, regular readers, right? Not us.
Normies.
I gave this book, or I told like 7 19-year-olds to read this book. And now that we have like an actual group chat where they just yell about Red Rising. It's called Reading and Rising. And we just yell about Red Rising like together. And like most of them aren't even readers. It's like the first series they've ever finished. And they binged it in like a month and a half, right?
Wow. That's awesome.
I think what is so cool about that is like it gets people into reading. It's those moments or these times where you can be like, dude, he's about to get to that part where, and then like, you're doing it together. And it's just, man, for me, that's been like the pinnacle of the reading experience with other people. So I think the Red Rising is just a perfect entry point, but also by book 4, it's so deep that like seasoned readers are still like in love with it, right? You're not like, oh, great, this is like basically watered down for people who don't read. You're still getting all of that in-depth stuff if you want it. But also if you're just not much of a reader, you're still like book 4, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to know what happens. So and it needs to be adapted well. I really, really like to see it adapted well.
Yeah, I need to read it. I've got it. You can see my little.
I'm sorry, you haven't read it?
I've read book 1. I haven't read the rest of them, and I love book 1.
Red is in your name.
What's me?
Yeah, it's a book about how to get out of bed every day.
Book 1 is the worst book in the series.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yes,
no,
it is. Stop
Yeah.
it. Don't you say Iron
Then it
Gold.
goes
I will
book 2
fight
and then
you.
book 3.
No, it's not. It's Iron Gold isn't the worst either. It's Morning Star.
No.
That is a hot take. Whoa.
Yeah.
That is
Here's the
a
hierarchy.
icy take.
Dark Age #1 by far. Dark Age is the best.
Lightbringer's number 1. Lightbringer's number 1.
Dark Age, Lightbringer, Golden Sun, Red Rising, Iron Gold, Morning Star.
That's crazy, dude. Morning
Star is just a very poor
No.
conclusion to a trilogy.
Morning Star had me crying so many times.
Stick them up.
No spoilers.
That's crazy.
Don't listen to him, dude.
Who invited him?
Who invited this guy? Moving on to the last thing. Let's talk about what are you reading and some channel updates. I'll go ahead and start on this one. We've mentioned this a couple times. I am working through volume 2 of 20th Century Boys. It is fantastic. My first real experience with manga, obviously very Stephen King coded in a very good way. I think that I like that this seems to be a manga with more, and you guys can tell me if this is true or not, more than average amount of words, right? It feels a little more wordy than most of the manga I've looked at. For the most part, like more dialogue. Kind of like the opposite of what Shay said with Vagabond, where it was like 5 pages of no words. This seems like there's just a decent amount. Really enjoying that. Probably finish that up like within the next day or two. I am 85% of the way done with this chunky boy, Dragon Mage by M.L. Spencer.
Oh, yeah.
We're reading this decently slow because it's a book club book. So we broke it up into 5 weeks and we talk about a fifth of it each week. So we finished with this one in probably the next day or two. This is like way better than I thought it would be and like pretty underrated. Will definitely be added to my pile of why are more people not talking about this. This is like top tier fantasy for sure. Yeah. Was it? I think it was you, Shay, that said like this is better than Cahill. Why are more people not talking about this? Is that you?
Yeah, it's. I mean, no slander against Cahill, but it's like pretty like. It's pretty. I don't even think it's a discussion you could have. Like, I think she in that standalone accomplished more than he probably did in any of his books, and I like Cahill, but Dragon Mage is like probably in the top 3 self-pub books I've ever read. Like, I think it's just as good as Sword of Kaigen. It's really good.
Yeah, it's been a really, really fun, good experience. And then I'm about 35% of the way into this bad boy right here, Buffalo Hunter. You guys know, if you watch my channel at all, I love me some Stephen Graham Jones, and this is the epitome of the thing that I have said either makes or breaks him for people, and that is that he embodies his narrators to a like ridiculous degree. And so he whatever the narrator or the voice is that's behind each of his books, he tries his best to write in a way like they would talk or like they would think, whatever format they're in, right? And so in this one, it's mostly epistolary. And so like it is written like a guy from 1915 who's a Lutheran pastor and he's writing in his diary. And that means that it's like chunky in some places and weird in some places, but like it's realistic to the character that he's trying to embody. And this one is like the epitome of that because there's a character who is kind of the main frame, and she's a present day academic. She's a teacher, and she's found the diary of her great grandfather. And so then you read the diary of her great grandfather, and the tone shifts pretty hard, and the prose shifts pretty hard. And then he is writing down a series of confessions from a Native American that he meets at his church, and he writes those like straight up 1915 Native American like prose. And it's pretty weird and clunky. And there's times where I have to stop and like try to figure out what animal he's talking about or what thing he's describing because he's using phrases and words I don't know. But man, like it works for me, but I also can see why it doesn't work for some other people. Cause like it's some work sometimes to figure out what's going on. But man, he really embodies that and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I have a feeling this is going to be another absolute banger from Stephen Graham Jones. So that's what I'm reading right now. I'm also still working my way through Claw of the Conciliator, waiting to hear when we're supposed to have that group talk with the group that's doing that. So I don't want to finish it until it's time for that because like I'll forget everything. So I'm kind of like slowly working my way through it. So that's what I'm reading. All right, Shay, what are you reading, man?
So I'm almost done with Fugitive Prince, which is book 1 in arc 3 of Wars of Light and Shadow, or I guess book 4 in the overall series. And I just finished the Randolph Carter Tales by H.P. Lovecraft, and now I'm reading The Call of Cthulhu.
Nice.
Manga-wise, I've got like 2 3-in-1s left of Vagabond, and after this, I'm going right into Ashes of Man. I took a little break after Kingdoms of Death, so I'm going on to Ashes of Man.
That's next
and
for
I'm
me.
going to start. Huh? Really?
That's next for me too. Yep.
And then I'm gonna audiobook it, and then I'm also going to read Drowned Kingdom. I'm doing a little read along with some friends. Drowned Kingdom by P.L. Stewart. And Janie Wirtz actually has told me that Drowned Kingdom is one of her favorite self-pub series, so I'm pretty excited to give it a try.
Nice. I've heard only great things about it.
Same.
Same. It's like I've heard great things from people who've read it, but I also don't know a ton of people who have read it. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Abel Montero like really, really pumps that as like one of his favorite series, if I remember correctly. Like he thinks it's really good. So cool. Yeah, Kingdoms of Death smoked me too, man. I understand having to take a bit of a break.
It was brutal.
I'm going to start it probably Monday. I think is probably when I'll get rolling because we got catch up in time. We can't be rolling. We can't be rolling into Shadows Upon Time behind. You know.
I also got
we have to be ready.
So that's I'm just like you just got 2 more plus Dregs of Empire and then you're caught up.
Yeah. I've got 2.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're good. We've got back-to-backs because Jay Kristoff's coming to our home city.
Ooh.
November 6th, I think.
Lucky duck.
He's gonna come here too.
For Empire of the Dawn.
He's gonna come here too.
Yeah.
So
that was only like $35 and you get a signed book. I'm like, it's basically like an $8 event. So
that is more my speed.
yeah. He's actually doing it's really weird. He's doing the event with Randy Blythe from Lamb of God. So
All right.
Lamb of God is from my home city. So I guess Randy Blythe likes Empire of the Vampire. So
cool.
Yep.
I actually got my first Jay Kristoff book, and it's gonna be the first one I'm gonna read, and it's he wrote a Deathstroke comic for DC, so I'm like everybody telling me to read Jay Kristoff, I'm gonna read a Deathstroke comic.
Nice.
But channel updates, I'm probably gonna pump the brakes on my channel because nursing school is coming up, so I'm gonna be moving to like 1 video a week type territory.
Hey, that's a lot of videos.
Huh?
1 a week is plenty videos, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So probably move into 1 a week. I got some pre-recorded, and so that'll be fun.
Nice.
Nice.
All right, books, beverages, and besties. What's going on? What you reading?
I am halfway through Demon in White right now.
Woo!
So going strong. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I've been audiobooking them, and just the audiobooks are done so well. Like I never want to stop. I just want it to play forever. It's so good. So yeah, just continuing through Sun Eater, and then slowly but surely working through Mercy, Tears of the Fallen by our Chance Dillon. And then I will be beginning volume 2 of 20th Century Boys. Like tomorrow.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I am also reading Buffalo Hunter. And then I am not far into Howling Dark, but I'm getting there. I did the thing where I was going through it. It wasn't the vibe, so I had to set it down and then came back, and it is excellent now.
Mm.
Imagine being in the mood for things. But yeah, loving it. And I am also reading the novellas and short stories in between as well. Loved Lesser Devil.
So good.
And yes. And then I am finally continuing Crime and Punishment. Crime and Punishment. It's that one is, I don't know how everyone's classics have gone, but I haven't read that one yet, but it's so interesting so far. It is a very interesting perspective to be in. He's very, very unhinged and will have thought patterns that it'll be like you receive a note from a friend or something, and then normal people would be like, oh, that's nice. And he's like, they're out to get me. The whole world is against me. He's very melodramatic. So
it's Hadrian.
Yeah.
I gotta say, the back half of Howling Dark is like whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's what
I liked the series, and then the back half of Howling Dark, I was like
Yep.
So excited.
And then and then for our channel update, we are also going to the gala.
Super excited to see everyone in person.
It's gonna be
very fun. Yes. And then as far as like videos go, we don't have like anything particular planned, but we have started incorporating into our weekly wrap-ups. We've started incorporating a writing section where we just get to talk about kind of like projects that we're working on and where we're at. And it's been so much fun. And it also kind of holds us accountable to like be working on our projects that we want to be working on. So that's been that's very exciting for us as people to be working on our projects and get a share about them a little bit.
Yeah, we've been doing writing prompts in the Discord too. So
yes,
if
we
you're somebody
have.
who wants to be engaging in writing, we've been giving out like writing prompt. I think we're gonna do one a month, and just enjoy that. And if you want to share it, you can share it. If not, you don't have to. So that's been cool. I've been. It was funny is I started one, and then the writing prompt, and then I actually was like, I want to go write the thing I've been writing or I haven't been writing that I had started. And so I went and wrote a little bit more of that. I actually shared some of it with Sherilyn. She's read my incomplete ramblings.
It's so good.
Well, thank you.
Yes. I'm like, I'll just like randomly remember it sometimes and be like, oh yeah, I need to get back to that. I'm like, oh wait, I can't. Like I want to know what happens.
I'm gonna flub the ending. So no,
yeah, that's fine. I figured.
Yeah. Cool.
Low expectations.
I recently had like one of my favorite authors ever offered to read my manuscript, and it was pretty dope. They tore it to shreds in the best way possible, but it's given me the oomph to get back into it.
Yeah, nice.
That's awesome.
Cool. All right. Red.
All right. Yeah, I've got 3. So some of y'all know about this one, so I'm reading Eye of the World.
No, what's that? Never heard of it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Little known,
Shame.
very short story. But no, I'm excited because my brother has picked up reading after listening to one of the, I think it might have been the one that I did with Four Corners of the Page, talking about like expectations and stories. And so he started reading Wheel of Time. And he's like in book 5, and I got him to start reading Elantris. So we're actually like a minor channel update is we're going to start recording episodes of us talking about like me talking about my journey through Wheel of Time and his journey through the Cosmere, and just had that back and
awesome.
forth. So super excited about that, enjoying it so far. I knew I would. I mean, Robert Jordan's like one of the legends, and so the next one I'm reading is Paradise 1 by David Wellington. So I was just doing like my Barnes and Noble monthly trip with my daughter for my birthday, and I just like, okay, Endless Dark, Endless Terror, it's sci-fi, getting alien vibes. Read the back, like some, colony ship, something goes missing. I'm like, okay, that's my cup of tea. I want to read some of that, and I'm enjoying that so far. And then yesterday I ended up reading Mistborn's Secret History. Just because, like, man, I really kind of want to pick up Era 2. And so that is exactly what I'm doing. I'm starting Era 2, especially because they're shorter reads for Brandon Sanderson. So I'm looking forward to going through the Wax and Wane side of things. Channel updates. Honestly, things took a huge slowdown just dealing with some mental health stuff. It happens in life. But we're kind of on the up and up and just, trying to figure out the identity of the channel because I want to do this. I want to do that, the whole ADHD thing. So I'm probably going to go back into the rhythm of things that had my brews and books of the week where I'm drinking coffee, talk a little bit about the coffee, then dive straight into the book. So looking forward to getting into the rhythm of that and then starting eventually, it might be every month or every other month where my brother and I will record an episode. We're probably going to do it at his place because my mic can do 2 people. So when we talk, and I'm excited about that. So especially because people jokingly say the voice of a god, like my brother and I don't really look alike, but we sound almost identical. So you're going to get to hear 2 voices of gods when we're talking about books. So, but no, I'm excited about getting back into the swing of things, talking about coffee, talking about books. And I should be popping up on a few other people's channels, including I'm happy to be here. And then see me on some other channels soon. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. That's great. All right. Well, you guys have been awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. One last time, I want to go around. Make sure you say what your channel name is on YouTube, or if you have an Instagram handle or something like that. And then I will sign us off. We'll start with Shay. Shay, where can we find you if I search you on YouTube?
Zachary Shay. That's the channel.
Zachary Shay. Awesome. YouTube.
We are Books, Beverages, and Besties on YouTube and Instagram.
Awesome. Right.
You have to do the hands with it.
On YouTube, it's Red's Reading Cafe, and on Instagram, it's Red's Reads.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. It was a fantastic episode. If you are still here, make sure you drop in the comments questions for next episode in 2 weeks. You can put questions in the comments, and we'll use those for our user questions. And make sure you hop into the Discord. The Bookstreet Boys Discord is an absolute blast and it's such a great time. You can find the link down there. The things that happen in that Discord stay in that Discord for the most part. We'll just leave it at that. But thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out, and we will see you later.